All right. Welcome. This is Dynasty, the podcast show. I am your host, Ira Bush. Thank y'all for tuning in. Welcome back for your weekend. Hopefully everybody enjoyed their weekend. I just want to say, man, it's been a been a how I say it's been a different weekend, man. It's interesting to say the least. Unfortunately, my mom, her best friend, ascended and she left behind her two sons and a couple. She got like four more stepchildren as well. So it's a tough day and it's gonna be a tough week for my mom and her and me and my two sisters as well. So just to tell, like, ever since I was little, I know she was in my life. She's been my mom's best friend since they was in diapers, and they grew up in the same area. My mom's father, sister stays in the same area as her or has residence over there. If she hasn't moved yet, like I said, I come from a real estate, so a lot of stuff is spread out in Florida that I don't, indulge in or don't know about as much. So it's a lot going on in Florida. She was a big pillar in that area where where my mother's father's like has a lot of stuff at, just like just been around Rome, and we used to go down there every summer during Easter as well. And it was a big thing for my mom. She made sure we didn't miss any events when it came to like Easter. We went to my grandfather on my dad's side. We went to a lot of our family reunions. So it was very, when we were young, we traveled a lot around Florida. We got to, we probably don't remember every family member, but we definitely know who our family is. We definitely love our family over here. So, she was a big part of my mom just growing up, and then just, how they instill, and what that old saying is like, the man is like the face of the family when you out, and then the mother makes the rules in the inside. And I just think they came up with a way of raising their kids together as young people, and all of us are pretty much, besides my one of my godbrothers that had passed away and ascended, unfortunately, through violence, how that goes, turf violence and all that stuff like that. Just being a man, being young, so unfortunately, he had ascended before then. But I care about them a lot. I gotta definitely reach out a little bit more and better. And it's not nothing to do with just just how it was when we were younger, but just like make sure they okay. But other than that, I checked on my mom yesterday. We were laughing about she ended up just really brief. She was at work, and then we just started talking about the political world. She was talking to one of her old friends online. They was going back and forth on a political debate, and she was just talking about political science. I was like, that's what mostly my show be on. And she said, I was just being thankful for my mother, because if I didn't have that upbringing to talk about, politics at a young age, and I didn't tell a lot of people about how intricate my mom really had on me knowing what's going on. Like, it was very at a young age. It was not. It was probably before kindergarten, to be honest, and it was mostly moments when I was by myself where, like, by the age 3, 4. We talked a lot about how the world is, how you're going to be looked at as a black man, and what it's very thin line between prison and success. So, I'm glad that she made sure that I understand that just living in this country, that they'll target you for any little thing, and it wasn't even sweet, because by the time I was 8, what she was saying is played out in my face. She was getting targeted for, they was taxing her for driving. They was ticketing her. We was always, it was always that they put borders, they put blocks up for my mom to harper her pockets, her purse, and as well as like we wasn't like, we definitely had what we want food wise, clothing wise, but it was just like the way she had to do it is like a little game to them. Everything came right at the end, last minute. It wasn't stressful for us. It was just, it put a lot on my mom. So I'm still gonna go hard for her. I'm still gonna try to make a way for her to eat better, live better, even though she's not in a bad space. So, shout out to my mother, my godmother who just ascended. That's all it is for the beginning. Things looking a little bit better with my child. Hopefully I get her sometime soon. I gotta make a call to her today, make sure I check bases with her, because at foremost, I'm just proud that I'm a father. So I got to do better. I'm gonna strive to be the best version of myself for her. So that's all. There's a lot going on in the sports world and in the political world over the weekend. I'm gonna talk about that today. I got stuff going on in the community. I might go to the school board meeting. I ended up going Sunday yesterday. I ended up going to the church that the quote unquote mayor of Pompano. Hold on. Before I move on, a quick story about my aunt. Tell a quick story. Well, my godmother, aunt, whatever. We was basically related, so I ain't finna go act like that wasn't what it was. It was definitely what it was, especially when we was close when we was younger, very tight. So, one of my favorite memories. I think it was definitely during the summer because it was more than 1 week. It was right before they tried me as at elementary, so I'll tell that story another day. But I probably told it on one of my platform on a different platform how I got tried. Just as a little child, and being by the white supremacist type people, and this has had nothing to do with that. But I'm just tell a story. So in Sebring, Florida, there's really nothing but like orange fields, the school around the corner. I didn't know about their boys and girls because I don't think they had it built. They might have had it built up, and I just wasn't going because it was summertime. Just family chilling. We ate good. We watched movies. My aunt's house was very nice. They had a trampoline in the back. A wood shed in the back. They over my god brothers, and they over there like figuring out how to build a remote control car. They got their little piano set. We in there watching, and we chilling. We hanging out. So it was very we had playing Uno all day and all kind of stuff like that. We making jokes all day. So we had fun as children. It was a big enough group for us to just roam around the house and laugh and joke and enjoy each other's time. So long story short, like the first time they took us to like their mall, like their little center, you know, it was on the outskirts of Sebring, but I don't know. It was like, how it looks when you're younger. It looked like we're going far. It was probably like 15, 20. They made it sound we was going super far. We was not going that far. So it was funny how my mom, it was like, it was probably because they had to walk to these type of places. So they made it seem like, they built it up. And then it was like, oh, we just going 30, 40 minutes probably away at the most. So when we got there, it's an arcade. It's like a little mini arcade. It's like Chuck E. Cheese, but it was not Chuck E. Cheese. We're not going to get confused. Or Fun Depot, whoever area you at, whatever type of, it was a little bit smaller, but it was definitely the atmosphere was lit. Like we was shooting the ball, playing all the games, running around, laughing, and the one where you got to do the little bowling, the little rolling balls, and it was not a big arcade. It was only two little sections of it. So in the bigger arcades, it's like 8, 9 of them. So me, I'm like, man, I want a good prize. We only here for 1 day. So it was just like it wasn't a busy day, but it wasn't a lame day. You get what I'm saying? It was enough people in there, so we hanging out. We ain't hanging out with the people, but we lit with the other people. So by the end of the time, we probably had 30, 40 minutes left. I say, man, forget it. I went on the side, boom, 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 boom. I know it was just the first time I actually did it because I was like, in the other place, Chuck E. Cheese is like big. Now I've been to Chuck E. Cheese, but I'm like, boom, 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 tickets flying out. So we all laughing. I'm talking about my cousin, rest in peace, my cousin Rocky, like, he ascended, but he's like, well, you brave, because, our moms don't play. Both of them, they was just laughing. It was just us, because we was, how it was, that was her oldest son. So he was just happy, he was laughing, because, we were very disciplined kids. We wasn't like, making them look bad, but we just took the risk. Like they look at everybody, they've seen us, but they looking blue, 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 blue. The people at the thing, they way over here. Another machine around the corner had them messed up. We got loaded up with tickets that day. I don't know what it was, but it was one of the funnest days. And his brother Chalk is more close to my age. But it was just the way it is, man, it's like those were the good times, when you're a child, you just have fun. My mom made sure we didn't miss nothing, and a lot of people, the way I see it, my mom not a materialistic person, but we got to experience things. So, I'm happy she is still just like that, same with my dad's side, my grandma, my grandfather, my great grandmother, like these presents and these moments you have to cherish, just being around people. So I definitely do. I don't speak too much about these intricate parts of my life. So, I'm glad I could share that. That's really what it is. So, it's all good. Hopefully my family, just having that extension is not offended by, certain things, but I don't really care at this point because I'm old enough to share. I not brag about nothing. I'm not being funny about anything. So, you know, and everybody branched off. It's not like I'm hanging with anybody. So, it's everybody got to grow and move on, and I'm just going to show my appreciation, show my respects like that. So, but yeah, let's get to basis of this, show. Get back to normal business. Like I was saying, it's a lot going on. We'll play y'all some clips. I don't. I'm gonna save my opinion on what I play y'all today. I don't know nobody in Israel. I don't know anybody in Iran. Not directly. I have a friend that I consider a good friend that's very high ranking to me, in how my life is structured. And I don't hang with a lot of my friends. So, and a lot of my friends are from different countries, you know what I'm saying, or island, or whatever they want to claim at the time, or associates or people that's been around me. They not actually from this United States. Like they claim their motherland or whatever, their family's from. They don't really claim United States. United States is a combustion of everybody in here trying to make a way. So, you know, like I said, we got people that's from these countries, and I don't know. They both look the same. They don't look that much different. And, when you from these countries, you know the difference. But me, I just see what I see. Somebody from the Middle East, somebody from what if they in? I don't know if they in the African continent. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know where this location is. So they just say Iran or Israel to me. South America, or whatever they call it at the time. So I ain't being funny. I'm just being honest about it. So when all this stuff going on with them boasting about striking in the nuclear base, which I'm happy they made it known that it was a nuclear base. They wasn't that clear. They wasn't that clear where they struck. They just sounded like they were celebrating war. So you know, I'm gonna let y'all listen to it. Unfortunately, I was gonna do the NBA prospects, the top 100. I thought the draft was Thursday. I was gonna squeeze it all in before then, but I don't feel like squeezing that in. I'm just gonna evaluate it after the NBA Finals is just ended. OKC was the winners. I'll break that down later on after I finish talking about what this. But we're gonna continue. Like I said, we're going with this. I'm just letting y'all know I'm not breaking it down. So sorry, I got a little lazy. I don't feel like the energy's still not in the sports world to me. Even in like BMF and the Shy, it's a lot of different stuff going on that's real life. You know, yeah, I'm definitely mention that, but I'm just thinking about it. It's a lot of like high level stuff going on with family and changing of just energies and different types of wavelengths going on, and it ain't got nothing to do with like the NBA draft or NFL is around the corners. I ain't dissing these big sports and corporations. I'm just saying the energy is not. It's more family. It's more arts. It's more personal. It's like you gotta get that wave of and I'm definitely on that wave completely. My child going to middle school in 2 months, so whatever people say, how they feeling. My mindset is like how my job gonna go stepping first day of school. Do she gotta wear the all white forces or the new Jordans? Now I'm just being funny with the fashion, but you know what I'm saying. How the kids gotta step first day, being in a new school, a new genre of their life. Definitely more people around them than they was in the elementary setting because they got to change classes now. They gonna have older people looking at them. You know what I'm saying? Then they worry about all types of teachers that we have to get to know. So not thinking about all that stuff. Hopefully, I got to discuss some stuff with her mother, but we should be able to get some stuff worked out properly. I'm excited. I remember my middle school. I went to three different. I think no, I went to Morgan, Sunrise when I moved here, Azalea, and I ended up going to five different middle schools, and this was not like on the first. I like to see this is one. Like I said, it's more a personal, not a personal, but an experience. So sixth grade with the neighborhood I was at, like I didn't leave. I hadn't left. I was there for 5-6 years. So, you know, including like the area I was in was the same area basically for like 7-8 years. After I moved, my dad and my mom split up basically. So when I stayed at the middle school I went to, it was like I wasn't around my friends that I was in my neighborhood. It was kind of like it was in elementary, but this time none of my elementary like students. It was a one girl that was in my neighborhood that was in my read 180 class, and I ain't afraid to admit that at least I passed reading in what they told us to pass it in like seventh grade and third grade. I passed it both, I think so. That's funny at that. But I passed both times, so I'm glad I ain't ashamed of being I made it to level 3. But like I said, the way they do intellectual properties is like when you own a property, they feel entitled. So you know how that go. They gotta give it back one day. But nah, sixth grade, seventh grade, I went to Morgan. I got in trouble. I used to get an insubordination referral probably twice a day, get written up. So, and it was just like challenging authority, saying stuff I was doing. Fifth grade, I didn't get nothing but one referral. I had a great teacher. She was funny. She wasn't funny like as a joke, but she was like this serious nun. Like she was not mean, but she was just had this serious face. She reminded you like how your people is, like, just don't mess up. Like and we just had fun in that whole year. We basically had, she made some ground rules in the beginning of the year and we had to stay tuned, and then we had pretty much enjoyed our first grade, moved on. The sixth grade, it was like I was in the neighborhood, you feel me? I had to make sure you ain't disrespecting me, you feel me? So I go to school. I got somebody always, somebody know me, like make sure I ain't going over the edge completely. So the one time they got sick and tired of me being in class clown because I used to just hold up class. I used to ask smart aleck questions to make sure they know what they talking about. You know what I'm saying? So I'd be like, so you mean to say this and this and this, and then be like this and this and this? No, no, no. We had like a whole 10 to 30 minutes of not doing the work. So, I'm just interfering for the whole, some people want to learn. I'm like, y'all is trying to make me go back in time because I was already on point when I got here. So, then I ended up getting, they took me in, down the street from our school was the actual Jack Center. That's what the juvenile detention center. And the one time I was like, they telling me, and they had me all, they really escorted me for school insubordination. I didn't fight. I wasn't threatening another student. The teacher really if it was a camera in there, I can't believe that lady exaggerated. I don't even know if it was a lady or a man, but they felt like they was intimidating them. That's what they said. I was like, what? This is the second time y'all tried me in school like this, like on some, I'm laughing, but they got me handcuffed. They took me down the street to the jack. They wanted me to be a certain way, like aggressiveness, but I don't have aggression. I played sports. Like there's a difference between the school and the field. You know what I'm saying? So I had plenty of that at home on the constructive level. Like I wasn't even stunned trying to fight nobody. Nobody, I had a lot of older people that know me in my neighborhood that went to the school. And it was like I didn't feel threatened by anybody in that school. I didn't even pay attention to all that. So I was only in the sixth grade. It wasn't even my time to even do all. Like I wasn't even interested. And then seventh grade, it was the same type of energy, but I don't even know why they moved me. I had got too many referrals or something. That incident didn't make me leave that school, but it was getting to, I started telling people what to do. You know what I'm saying? I started like making somebody, you know what I'm saying? I got a little. I wasn't bullying. I was just like using, when that you ever seen that movie Push when that girl was like crash out? Like I was like, give me some chips and juice every day. Like I was on some open my door. Like I was getting like that in the seventh grade. But I wasn't even around my friends that I played sports with. I was just on some. I don't even know them like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't even. I wasn't really mean. I was not mean to these people. Trust me, I was not mean. I was definitely, but because once I got to that level of like telling people what to do, basically, I was like, nah, this ain't even worth it. Because it's like I want to do other stuff. This ain't even the type of tell people what to do. And then once but I ended up switching to no, actually sixth grade I left. I left Morgan. That's what happened. I did get in trouble. I had to leave because that was my second time getting in trouble. I didn't get no, they ain't. I don't want to talk about it yet, but I'm gonna just let my stuff build up. Be this going if y'all this not gonna be a show where it's gonna be it's gonna be political because I'm gonna tell you what happened yesterday at that church. It's gonna be funny. So it's gonna be like, this is real life, this community, this is just my experience. So let me continue the story. Sixth grade, I did leave. I forgot it was sixth grade. I feel like it was sixth grade, yeah. But when I left, I went to a school that is basically all of them was my teammates from football, and I didn't get in none of their classes, but like one person, but he was basically family, and then one of my mom's close friends, her kids, one of her sons, they was in my class a lot, and that was about it. The only time I seen boys is going this way and going that way, and I don't know what kind of dimension they tried to put me in, but it didn't work. Because I used to be an ABC, OSIL, walking around, and everybody in class mostly. So I was just like, I didn't take no. Once they left, I basically bumped up. They really thought they was going to put me in some kind of like cage. Like it is, school is like that anyway. But I definitely was at the office all the time. I'm definitely getting, I ain't even bragging. I'm talking about how I challenge authority. Just how my mind, and I'm definitely not even trying to, when it comes to police officers or whoever think they have authority, the gig is up basically. I'm not a child at this point. So, I paid my taxes. Y'all stole my taxes. You know what I'm saying? When you steal my taxes, I'm gonna treat you like I did you when I was little. So like, what y'all want me to do? Like, I look at it like that. Like, what y'all really want me to do? Then y'all disrespect people that really are service people. My mom worked a long time. My grandfather's worked a long time. Like, I don't know what to tell you. My dad worked a long time. He worked all the way till he ascended. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is known knowledge that I speak on all the time. So my great grandfathers worked a long time. They worked until the last day they had something going, you know what I'm saying? It's never been, they grandkids, they great grandkids still outside on the field. So they know how that's supposed to go. Like it's like what y'all try me the most. And I know I'm intelligent. Like I know I got something upside my head. Y'all try me all kind of ways, except with physically, basically. Like, you know what I'm saying? They tried every little dimension and every little woo, wow in the United States against me. So I talk about it in the open manner because it's not funny, but it's like at some point, you know what I'm saying? Like at some point, what y'all want me to how you want me to handle you? Like so. Yeah, once I got to that grade level, I was like, I didn't last too long in there. They had to, my mom already knew how I was heating up. She ended up, my aunt needed help. Her youngest sister, she moved, and they stayed together in South Florida, which I'm still in this area located. It's been for the better because I'm a coach here. I'm definitely more disciplined, but I ended up leaving there. I stayed a half a year at the school in South Florida, Sunrise. I left Largo when I left that area. I didn't stay in Largo. I went to Largo Middle for a year, basically a year after I left sixth grade. And then, like I said, once I left I went to I didn't like the energy in Sunrise. It was a lot of what's running around. I was like, I just as soon as my summer hit, it's when I turned 13 on my 13th birthday, I was in my dad's doorstep. I was like, surprise, happy birthday. I'm talking about to me because I'm not going back to Fort Lauderdale. Nah, but for real, it wasn't because of my mom. My mom good people. I miss my mom. I enjoyed my mom. My mom did never have. I never had an issue staying with my mom. Never. Like especially when I was younger. Never. So I left eighth grade. I stayed with my dad. Now I did pretty good when I went to South Florida Sunrise, but it just wasn't my cup of tea there. So when I went there, I was with my boy cousins, young men cousins at the time. We all went to a school called Azalea. And this is my type of tea. It was beautiful women, everybody laughing, joking on each other. This is the vibe that I left before I left to South Florida. So we chilling at, I enjoyed the school, but I got in trouble one time. And soon as I got in a fight. I never got in a fight in school. I only had to fight a couple times in my front yard in my neighborhood, which is normal for every child. If you grow up in the urban area, you get in these little spats competing. But this person, I did the same thing I was doing in my sixth grade year, but it was just like teasing them mostly. It wasn't like making them hold the door and give me snacks and stuff. It wasn't that. It wasn't that energy. This was considered. I would consider him a friend, but I was trying to impress a female because I just got a little full of myself, which I admit I'm a grown man now, so I was trying to impress just by being a clown, a jokester, and I really ain't really I'm a jokester when it's personal, and then when it's because I did once he got mad, I was like, dang, I got to fight now because he put his hands up. So I put my hands up. I got 2 hits in, and then it was over. I lost because when you bully and you try people, you're going to take that L. So it ended up being a flop. I lost, but that was the only loss I ever took in the fight. So I'm okay with learning lessons like that. I was 13. It hadn't happened one day. Other than that, I don't remember losing nothing. So I'm all good with the one loss. You know what I'm saying? So we fast forward, I got in trouble for it. I had to go to alternative school for 90 days. And then like I said, I'm telling the story I probably told before. Some people might have heard it, but it don't care. You move on. I'm gonna make it short. I did great, excellent. I was with my dad. I had to stay at his house. I couldn't hang with my auntie house. Stay over there with my cousins. I had to get focused and disciplined. So boom, I did good. And then I'm just telling how many schools I went to, how I had to bounce around. I don't want that for my child. I want her to be in a program, and I want her to be successful. So and it wasn't bad because I was still around family. I was still around some friends every step of the way. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't all bad. I had to go through those type of things. So, I did my job in these institutions. I passed. Basically, I went to 2 high schools, but it was all love both sides. I didn't take nothing from it. Actually 3, but the third one I was very short stint. Um, but I've been around Florida, man, for a long time, and then I don't make a lot of friends. So it's like if I meet you as a friend or associate, it's general. It is what do you call it's not a fake interaction. Like I could be gone, you won't see me no more unless you see me like this on the screen. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully, like I don't really got no time to go back and forth and bicker and backer about nothing. So and I'm still in Florida, so I ain't hard to reach out to or to reach or nothing. Like I really don't be on all that. I'm happy. I'm getting older. I'm getting more mature, and these are things that I'm proud of myself on. Now, let's get back to the program that we usually run. Enough of the personal, because I always think like in the beginning of these in my dynasty show, I had to introduce myself. So these are stories that I want y'all to take and make sure I put in a lot of I put only truth out, not just like opinions of what's going on. I'm putting out what I know I did and what I did experience as a young person, and I'm trying to let y'all know this is why I'm making the steps that I'm making towards make sure my child path is clear. You know what I'm saying? Making sure he has the proper education. Make sure I got to go to Broward school boards and kick everything over so she can have a clean slate of her getting disrespected last year, and they still ain't got the correct answers for me. They ain't went over the policies yet. They still acting like they want to give out awards. I don't see her getting enough awards. I don't remember my child not getting nowhere, no C's and nothing in elementary. She was a great student throughout her time as a Broward County student. She should have been at the school board the day they was handing all them awards out, if you ask me. So they don't get me started. No, it's all good, man. We're gonna get everything situated. Everything will be checked off correctly now, man, from the top. Not just at the school, from the top. Now, one more story. Yesterday I went to check in on this. Mind you, before I went to the church, and the mayor that had their where they church they go to, how they're family oriented. This man took everything off, and he literally just put, "Oh, I'm an activist in the community, and I got a picture with a group of black young ladies." That's what he basically did. I'm like, y'all changed this in a month. Y'all still the mayor of Pompano, ain't it? I was in shock. You know what I'm saying? But mind you, okay, let me tell y'all how church went yesterday. First off, no, I'm not a judgmental person. You like what you like. So first and foremost, LGBTQ plus community, do not get offended by what I'm about to say, because it's like, if I didn't even bring that what is it called? They tell you step for step what it is. It was more like a new cult that they're starting to start, and it's like a Christian Catholic LGBTQ church. That's what it was. Like, it was a combined of everybody's welcome church. You know what I'm saying? And I ended up seeing a nice program that they're going to help with spiritual growth, and they invited everybody. But this is like, okay, I taught y'all how to telepathic wavelength be echoing now. It ain't just African descended people. It's more governmental now. They're trying to control telepathic abilities, but we're gonna see how that lasts, and how much confusion happens right there with some people not supposed to even be having a sonar. They ain't even worthy of it. So, but it's stuff that I be hearing. I'm not, and trust and believe, I don't have time to claim to be crazy. Like, I'm too grown for that. I ain't claiming nothing crazy. I'm sorry. I could do that at will when that's not nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I told y'all last week, I ain't planning on being part of that clan right there. I can't indulge in that at this age. I have high level children that look up to me in my own tent, that they got to make sure they could come back to the ground of before they went to school. They uncle, they dad, they father, what he was doing, what he was teaching them, the basics. Strengthen your limbs, sharpen your reading and math, stay on point with your books. Everybody got that. The basics of 101, when you and make sure you're doing something in the community, whether you playing, whether you helping. Basic. That's about 4 or 5 things you got to do is keep yourself uptight. Girls, do your hair. Boys, trim your limbs, brush your teeth. Same with the females with your teeth. And don't be ashy. Iron your clothes. You know what I'm saying? Little basic stuff. So, yeah, like I was telling about the stuff that I hear. I won't say I hear it, but that echoes. It was like, damn, it made me forget what I was trying to say. It was important too. So you know how that go when they don't want you to remember. It's, I don't know what they call mental control now, but I be laughing about the whole situation. Anyways, they'll come back to me. We'll have to go over it another day. I told y'all some pregame with how I raised the kids. That's all, the children. Correction. Um, yeah, they don't want me to talk too much, but it's weird. That's weirdo energy right there. That's that. they ain't even on my point, on my level of energy shit. I hate when that happens. All right. Basics of it, school, they going, community, we got stuff going. Oh, the church, Tell the story about the church. They all combined. And when I say like I said, I got something out of it. I got, I made a connection, got somebody's number, but I don't think I'm gonna be over there every week. It is in Broward, so I have stuff, I really got walked down on. It's actually a Bible study at the church that came up on me. It's a Spanish and English church, so I don't know if it's fully English, going to be English when I go to the Bible study. I enjoy Bible study more than I enjoy going to service. So I see them during the week. It won't condemn me going there during the. Well, I don't think I will be attending. It gave me the Scientology controlled, they got they literally was like all hell, whatever person that they was all hell to. And I was thrown back by that. So I was like, what? And then it was like, we accept all LGBTQ plus this and that. And I was laughing about it. I was like, I couldn't believe it. Because when I was younger, the church, I literally, where I'm from in St. Petersburg, I stepped in a church just having time and space, going back to where where I was born, not where our people are mostly, what I'm saying? I'm saying it like that. But I was born in St. Petersburg. So I went to a church, I stepped in, it was a little old, down the street from the projects in Georgia Park, and right in the middle of Bethesda, Georgia Park, right down on 9th. And I went to one of those churches. There's several churches, because that's how St. Pete was formed in that little area right there, just from the churches. Then they build these communities, and they got houses on the back end of them, and then they spread it out throughout St. Pete. So if you know where you're from, you know you're from. I graduated from that preschool, so I don't got nothing against. I can't go against. I really not. People like to try to tell your story. They ain't never been in those projects ever, not a day. The raps was this big when I was little. My dad killed like 3 of them one day. I ain't even lying. Killed rats for real, like no cap. So I don't know what kind of rats we had, but them things is huge. Them were dead though. And he was laughing about it. We used to play around because we ate good. You know what I'm saying? My mom mopped the floor every night. But we had so many toys. You know what I'm saying? Okay, let's put it like this. She had, my dad and my mom had a room there, me and my older sister. And then my sister was getting born, was a very small child. So she had a crib in my mom and dad room. And it was a 2-bedroom. How they gave it to us, 3 kids. Me and my sister, my older sister Cheryl went, and my mom had her, and my dad had their own space. This when they moved to the projects. This is because, I ain't dissing. My mom and dad helped their family a lot. Both. They both was working. They both had enough to, if y'all before we were born, they had houses. They didn't, and being that they shared spread themselves thin, helping this side, and both sides was competing. They still kind of, I don't know what their energy is. We both from the same area. Like, I don't know. Whatever it was, they moved, they ended up, I already know what it was. It wasn't like they was destitute. It was just cheaper. So when they moved back, they still was together. They didn't. It wasn't perfect, but my dad was never. He definitely didn't play by eating. And I ate great. I was very. Look, I was protected very well. You know what I'm saying? I was with my grandma. My grandma was always around the corner. She was there the whole. She stayed way out in the south side most of the time. So yeah, when I was young, I was straight. Like my dad was in the project, my grandma was not in the projects. So he probably had like a little community service duties that if y'all know how my grandfather is, he'll play by how the surrounding areas is. So it was just one of them type of things. It was just some old school stuff going on. But yeah, it was good. I was a very well protected child. I didn't feel no real threat ever. Like so I'm just thinking back how I was younger. It was straight. But yeah, I can't remember. I'm just sitting here laughing about how my grandma Ernestine was one of the funniest people you ever meet. That's my dad mother. That lady would tell jokes from sun up to sun down. I'm talking about you cracking up. And then she made us play. We on the park all day. We going for walks to the orange tree and all that. Me and my cousin, we tight like that. So that's when we go out there. We had nap time. She watching the stories. She laughing, cracking jokes. Like it's all kind of stuff going on when I was younger. I never felt like unentertained. Then my mom's mom, she stayed on the other side of the county, so and it was a house and all my older cousins and all the kids over there. It was supposed to be 11 of when my cousins passed away when I was real young, but it was like 10 of us, my oldest cousins. I tell this stuff all the time. But I was heavily protected, and it still kind of am. So I don't feel, they all got their own children. So I would never claim them to, hey, I already go, I would, I don't feel like, but they definitely, if they know stuff and they can help, they will, reach out on that with them. So, and I'm pretty sure like people know how I am. Like I don't really, I got other stuff that I got to figure out with how this media and this social stuff going on with people being jealous and how we're not, when you're a black family and you're not ugly, you know what I'm saying? You get that kind of hate, that kind of salt, and be looking deteriorated, and they want you to look like them. And we get that we got the good genes, like you know what I'm saying. So both sides really gonna develop into very young success. On at least going to be having potential to have success. And definitely our children have the platform to be successful. So I don't, I can't, the energy that they put behind trying to make it look a certain way, it didn't really work out because we still got to have our children to, carry the torch and continue. They didn't, whatever they try is not going to work. And I speak that kind of light because I know it's still going on with the hate. When you sleep, when your peace, boom, they want to hate. You know what I'm saying? So that's the type of energy you gotta rebuke and step on. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't want to talk. I talk about my family all day, 40 minutes straight. So today, one of them days, man. I gotta reminisce a little bit, man. I had a great childhood, man. So I ain't gonna talk too much. I wasn't gonna talk political. I'll say that for tomorrow. It really is a strong man story. I'm gonna talk about the executive orders that have been signed. If I read y'all the executive orders that they signed in June, it's the most goofiest elementary. I don't know who signed them. I'm trying to figure out who named them. The title of them is so elementary and not thought out and not like you're not selling that executive order. You're not making people believe that that's for everybody. That's from your little cousin from bone fuck whatever. You know what I'm talking about? So that don't even give you ain't getting no strife and strength behind wanting you to be successful in your cabinet. So and it's still the more importance of education, building communities. That's what we need to focus on. I really don't want to hear nothing about. To me, the Iran Israel and the Iran Israel war, or that's what they call it now. They want it to be a war. So their war is not our war. So what we have we have trajected ourselves into the Israel side. It's been clear that they made a straight line. Then you got the Ukraine, Russia. Now Iran is communicating with Russia, and other 2 weeks ago, this is all stuff I'm gonna show y'all tomorrow. And this is just the surface of it. I don't have a clue what they doing and what they talking about. I can't tell you nothing. This is what they report. So we talking 2 hours to Russia 3 weeks ago. Then Iran and Russia communicating, and we supposed to be over here doing bomb shows for Israel, and they talking about they waiting on the response. What kind of response you think they gonna do? Y'all are putting us in danger still. But I'm still okay. They did the bombings of the nuclear sites, 3 of their sites. They wanted them to come to the table and put us in charge of defecting their nuclear program. That's what was reported this morning. So they want them to come and say surrender, come over here and crash all us out with besides bombing us. They want us to crash all their systems, take all their nuclear weaponry, put certain what is the word I'm looking for? Stipulations on what they can and cannot do when it comes to nuclear programming. And that's what the reports have been done. Like I said, I usually have facts and the back and forth between the real reporters that are close to those grounds that got the little maps up of where they bombed. And I know y'all can't see, but I'm gonna let y'all hear tomorrow what they're talking about. It's probably more going to come out. That's basically what happened in political today. Now let's close it out because I probably missed something that I want to talk about, but that's all good. Now, yesterday, NBA Finals game, I predicted the OKC would win. They have won. They won. They have won their first championship in NBA history, and that for that franchise, they are, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is a prime example of staying the course, working on each part of your game, developing your game each and every year. You cannot just be talented. You actually have to put in the work to master your talents because he was always talented. That is the franchise that originally signed him. He had to go other places to learn, to make sure, to kind of like put it, he was on the verge of, he's always looked at as a talented player. So when you are a young player, you can get traded when you have people like Russell Westbrook playing the same position and is ball dominant. And, I think Chris Paul was there as well, one of those years. So, he always had the talent, but he was young. So he had to leave. And unfortunately, Oklahoma Thunder got very lucky to get him back into their program because they always knew he was talented. He developed, he stayed the course, he became MVP of the Western Conference Finals, the NBA Finals, and the NBA regular season. That is a great accomplishment. Hopefully, he continues to have success in his career. He has a chance to win way more than one championship. So, that's great to when you see somebody literally because he's 29, 30, 28, 29, 30, one of those age range. He's been in the league a little minute, but he's right on time when it comes to being in your prime. My suggestion, he got a good core strength. He's not, he probably got a little, everybody know basketball, how your ankles get. You get a little sore, you get a little, you start dunking, you start cutting, and you ain't knew you had a sprain, little mild sprains and stuff. That happens over the year time in the season. And that happened just when you're younger playing on the court. So, and I ain't played 82 games and then what he would probably play 30, 40 games in the playoffs because they went 7 games, 6 games, you know what I'm saying? Like 20 to 30 games in the playoffs. And, they had to come back a couple times. They went, so that's that to me right there is like, a good, not a small feat. And, my thing is the young players, this is what I say, with, I can't remember his first name, Williams. He's 23. I feel like you are the wingman to Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. My thing is, whatever y'all did last summer, you have to get 2 to 3 of your teammates, Chet Holmgren, Williams. Y'all need to find that core to make sure y'all leader is like staying at the top. You know what I'm saying? Y'all have to turn it up a whole nother level now because you're in the West. You got multiple teams. KD just went to the. Nah, I just forgot that. That was last night. That happened. So KD's in the West again. He's in Houston now. The trade wasn't. This one of those. We got LeBron. These are people that are like, I only got. They have a time. Their clock is on the wall. You know what I'm saying? For them to be not KD, but KD got hurt a lot, so he could be on the same time. And LeBron, you feel me? So with the time with them watching the clock of not really watching it, but being in the only time you a player that you watching the clock is when you getting on the training table. You know what I'm saying? For too long, you seeing what time you got to go to practice. You looking up. You know what I'm talking about? So I've been in high school. Players know what it is. You can't be in that training room after 3:45 or 3:30, whichever the practice time is. You get what I'm saying? So you got to make sure you're on the field if you want to start, if you want to be a star player, if you want to be the player that people depend on. So them guys is hungry. They ain't won in some years. All the Jalen Brown. Tatum got hurt. He got to come back stronger. He got probably gonna miss half a season next year. Um, it's gonna be tough. It's we're gonna see what happens. That's all I can say. The draft coming. I don't really know about this core of people. I'm gonna do my research, but after I don't really. They gonna make it seem like I copycat somebody, but I just like to watch, see how they play, see the elements of the game. A lot of the people that I spoke on last year ended up being successful. The one in the 76, I don't know if I started him or not. But everybody else pretty much panned out. I feel like I did, but I gotta go watch the. I don't even know if I don't even know if he made the top 50, and he did. So I might have, I don't know if I wish I had my notes. I lost that notepad, but I start people that I think could be that have talent. So I might have did, I might have did. So they got him in later in the first round, mid first round. So you could be a second round pick and end up developing to a young future star, because you gotta still play 2 or 3 years before they even consider you. You see how Tyrese Halliburton got hurt the same way. I think it looked like he had a Achilles. They said it was lower leg, so you never know what that was. It's a lot going on, injuries. All I can say, y'all stay more. And when you're a professional, keep yourself grounded. Don't allow too much people in your energies. They'll send all kind of energy your way, whether it's a female, whether it's money, whether it's an old friend, whether entities want to sign you, whatever, to go get your team. Make sure you be mindful of these things so you don't fall off, so you don't get off the train wreck, derail you from success. That's my biggest thing. Don't let nobody derail you from success. Okay, that's it for the NBA Finals. I'm going to start talking a little football. Stuff is happening that I ain't really been reporting on, talking about, but I kind of like let football be what it is. People get signed. I don't really want to deal in too much talk about people making money. Basically being nosy, because it ain't my business. As long as they sign, as long as they on the team. I'm trying to let the whole roster develop into this is what it's gonna be. This is how it's gonna look. And I think I did. I broke down the draft for the NFL, and I graded them. So if you want to look at my grades, you could go back and see the drafts who I keyed. They might be penning out in training camp. That's not my business. I just do what I see on the film. I'm not there at every camp, all 32 teams. I'm not going to be intricate moment of all these teams. You know what I'm saying? I'm just giving a full surface of the league. So that's pretty much it for sports. I got to watch the Ballerina movie Friday. I don't know if that was a great movie. It talked about basically, a cycle of, how I feel like they're just trying to show how the future people want to be having communities where there's more militant. How America got to be more militant, just based off the history of it. So we got a lot of military background in the United States of America. A lot of bloodshed happened just building this country, so they can't hide from that forever. So they'll just be theatrical about it. But they also got a lot of chosen people. Me and my mom was talking about that. That's something she already told me. As long as you don't indulge They want us to be here like they're little puppets, like people like me, my mom, my family. A lot of us don't indulge in that negative energy of trying to, they think you gotta actually do something to somebody to have money. And that's their biggest problem. It's like, no, it's the opposite way actually. So, especially if you're using a gun, you're basically attacking in a way too higher the realm that you're attacking is very illicit. Like it's over the top. You're not using your hands. You're not chopping up uh, something from the tree. You're not bow arrow. Like you can't come back from what you're doing. You're not giving a chance of competing or combating. You know what I'm saying? Those are the highest. Those used to be, but they put gunpowder in the bullets, and they got it all in the movie. People all hyped up off that movie. It was pretty good. It was entertaining. It had a good, nice little story, like a full circle story. Definitely probably gonna be a second one of that movie. So it was okay. I wouldn't train my daughter to be, it was entertaining. So if I had to rate it, I'd give it like a 7 or 6.5, because it's not my belief of how I would want, but it was entertaining. It was a little, how it was extra, like it ain't going down like that. All the bullets flying, get slammed on the table. You know what I'm saying? In real life, if you got a child, you gotta protect with your life. You gotta put her in a position not to be around that type of energy. And then it basically was the opposite. They were teaching their kids how to be, you know what I'm saying? Got a whole little school and realm of it. But you might have to defend yourself like that one day. I guess that's what they said. So I try to get stuff from it. Hopefully, we don't have to get to that level in my lifetime or my child's lifetime. So, and if it does, she gonna be ready for it, or they whole family will be ready for it. But that's pretty much it, man. I got to watch that. This week another movie come out. I'll be checking out a movie Friday. I like the movie theater in my neighborhood. It's not expensive, but it reminds me when I was younger. The prices is the same as when I was younger, so I enjoy going in there and watching it movies. So yeah, man, that's pretty much it. I try to keep everything, tight. I spoke on what I need to speak on today. I didn't get too political. I gave y'all a little preview of what's coming tomorrow. I told y'all what happened. I forgot to finish the story about just going to church. I think the pastor might have been, but I ain't gonna judge him. I ain't judging it. I didn't. I don't. I'm not all hailing nobody. You definitely not. You might be. You might claim you have the spirit of God in you, but I don't see you as God. So they said they had a little white Jesus up there with a 6-pack. It was funny to me. All these people in there, half of them was half asleep, repossessed people. So hopefully they come break out of that little the little, all hell, all sleepy world. They wake up one day. So, break you out. Bing. But nah, for real, man, just you gotta stay on point. Make sure you take care of your children, checking on them properly. I'm finna go call mom when I get to the house. Cook me some breakfast, or dinner, or brunch, whatever time, lunch. And y'all stay good, man. Stay easy. This is Dynasty the Podcast Show. I'm your host, Ira Bush. I will see y'all tomorrow about the same time, probably. And appreciate you.